Welcome to the Unstuck and Unstoppable podcast, where we help you move your life forward. Now, if you've ever felt like you weren't where you wanted to be at in life, maybe you haven't achieved your goals or realized the dream that was in your heart, in other words, you have settled for less than God's best for your life, then you're listening to the right episode of our podcast today. I'm Jim Kyles, and I'm here with Jolea Garza.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here.
So good to be here. What?
Yeah, it's going to be great. Week 2, last week was so great. Man, I had such a great time.
So much good feedback that we've gotten for people. We are so pumped about being on this journey with you. The whole premise of our podcast is to help people get unstuck and become unstoppable. Did you know it's estimated 80% of Americans today feel like they're stuck? Yeah. Maybe they're stuck in their finances, their marriage, maybe it's their health or relationships, wherever it is, they just feel stuck. And we really believe that we want to come alongside of you. We're going to help you get unstuck.
Yeah, this is such a journey, and we've gotten to walk through this journey. And so it's so great to be able to take other people through this process. I think the pandemic specifically really revealed how easy it is to get stuck. And so I think that this is just such a great opportunity to help people take some next steps.
Yeah. So if you're joining us back from last week, welcome back. If you're here for the very first time, we're so thrilled to have you. We ended last week talking about the fact that you might be stuck, but with God, you're never stranded.
Yeah, it was great. We were really helping you identify where you get stuck.
That's right.
And I thought that was great. My favorite part was, we always use never and always words. That's such a light bulb moment for me of wherever in my life I'm saying I would never do this, or I never will have this, or I always do this. Those are places where you might be stuck.
You might be stuck. In fact, we talked about multiple reasons why people get stuck.
Right.
And so if you missed it, go back and listen to it. I know it'll bless you. Today, we're really going to move forward, and we're going to talk about paradigms, dry rots, and blowouts, and talking about stuck versus stranded. When we talk about being stuck means to be held back. It means to be detained by circumstances. Right. So an example of that might be my car is broken down and I'm stuck until my wife picks me up. Right. So there's circumstances that have detained me, but I've got an alternative to get around my circumstance.
Absolutely. Yep.
But stranded, that's a little bit different. That's where you actually don't have any other options.
Yes.
And it's hopeless. It's without hope.
Yeah.
So an example might be you're flying to New York. All the flights are canceled and all the rental cars have been rented.
I think some people have experienced this. I had friends in Florida that got stuck at the airport.
Yeah.
I think about some of the times where I've been, in traffic. Have you ever been in those moments in traffic where it's just a complete standstill? People are out on the street and kind of walking around trying to stretch their legs.
You almost
you almost feel a little bit stranded there. It's a great visual of what that might feel like for people.
Yeah, well, you're without hope.
Right.
And so, but I want you to realize that in life with God, you're never without hope.
Yes.
And that's where we want you to know that you may be in a place today that you didn't intend to be in, but you don't have to stay there. There is hope that God gives us the ability to move our life forward. And we don't have to move forward in giant leaps.
Yes, so good.
That's
just a couple steps.
Maybe one step.
Yeah.
I love James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, and he just talks about the 1% principle. Yeah. Like, hey, I just want to be 1% better today than I was yesterday, another percent better tomorrow than I was today. And that's really the key. The key is I'm just going to take steps to move my life forward so that I can eventually get to where God has called me to be.
Yeah, and that's the shift. Last week we talked about those never and always statements. I think the biggest deal is shifting those statements and being able to say, I may be in this situation right now, but I have a plan for moving forward, or I'm going to get out of this. It removes the idea that we're stranded in situations. Right. I think it gives you hope to know
it does.
We're never stranded.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I'm reminded Phyllis and I love to go to the beach. My wife loves anything with sun and water.
Welcome to summer in Texas.
Oh my God.
She's in the right place.
Well, we were headed out to Galveston, and I remember a time, it was just recently happened, probably about a year or so ago, and we were going to spend a week at the beach cabin that we had rented out. And Phyllis and I were going to go a couple of days early and have us some me time.
Yeah.
No kids, get
Holiday,
up there early.
Come on.
Prep So we loaded up the trailer. We are headed out. We're going through Houston. Anybody knows the surrounding area of Houston? We were going down Beltway 8 and headed down to 45 south over to Galveston. And on the trip, we didn't get any further than 10 miles away from the road or from our house. And our trailer has a tire that blows up.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it's not like a little flat, like psst.
No.
It's like explosion.
That's probably my worst nightmare.
Oh.
These highways are high in Houston.
Oh my God! It explodes. The trailer is shaking. We pull over to the side of the road and thinking, "Oh my goodness, no big deal. We'll call the roadside service to help us." We call them, get them out, and then we put the new tire that was up there. It was not the new tire, but it's the spare tire,
right,
that has never been driven before. That should be perfect. We put it on and replace it. We're heading back out. No more than 10 miles down the road, that tire explodes again, blows up. So now we are on the side of the road having had 2 flats. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Oh my gosh.
It's 6 o'clock, so all the tire shops are closing. We finally got in touch with this mom and pop tire shop. We take off the spare. We head over there. They say we got 1 tire, and they had a special for us. They had a used tire that we could buy for $40. And I'm like, yep.
$40.
I'll take
Listen.
it. Hey, whatever. It was the only place we could find.
Okay.
And we go. We put the tire on, didn't even inspect the tire. We're just happy you got
That's
a tire.
too funny.
We put it on the trailer, and there is a gash where you can see all the threading, the wire mesh.
It was $40.
$40. What was I
expecting?
thinking? Well, and it was on the inside, so it was hidden. And I realized we're not going to get any further. We'll have a third blowout.
Right.
And so we're sitting on the side of the road. We're like, what are we going to do? Now it's 7, 8 o'clock at night. Phyllis has a brilliant idea. She said, let's go eat at Papacitas.
Yep.
Great Mexican place here in Houston.
Everything.
Fixes everything. Let's make some phone calls. We finally, 9 o'clock, find a 24-hour roadside assistance that would come out and give us some brand new tires for the trailer while we were eating. Come on, that's a solution.
Come on. That's awesome.
Lo and behold, by 10 o'clock, they change all the tires. We're headed out. We get to the beach cabin. It's like midnight. But in that process, what was so interesting is I was sitting there at Papacitas, and I told Phyllis, I'm like, hey, we don't have to go to the beach.
Right.
Like, look, we're in Houston.
Yeah.
No, not home. We ain't going back home. We going to a hotel.
Yeah,
There's all these places around here. Like,
Yeah.
let's go somewhere and let's just sit and figure this out. And she was like, no, baby, we are getting to the beach. And so she had the determination. And what I realized was that I could have settled in a place that I was intended to pass through.
Wow.
That Houston wasn't our destination.
Yeah.
But we had some blowouts. And those blowouts caused us some delay. And then the delay caused us to have some doubts. And we almost didn't make it to the destination.
Right. Man, I just love this illustration. It's so great because you are a perfect example of what we often do in our lives.
Yep.
You know, we're doing okay. We're making it down the road. Then a few bad things happen.
That's right.
And maybe it's I don't know if it's a fight or flight or a way to protect ourselves or whatever it is, a way to survive. We're like, well, we'll just stay right here.
Right here. We
don't make
nowhere.
any more changes.
Shutting down.
Don't move anything forward.
We're in survival mode.
We're in survival mode. That's the word. We're in survival mode. We're just going to stay right here. That's exactly what you did.
Yeah,
and that's
absolutely.
what we do.
And it's justified.
Right.
Like we could have stayed in Houston and then nobody would have thought worse or, you know, but we would have missed the place that was already paid for.
Wow.
We would have missed the experience. Yeah, we got there late, but we got to experience the sunrise. Got to experience the whole day out in the water.
Yeah.
And so what we realized was the blowouts were caused by dry rotted tires.
Wow.
We went back to try to figure it out. Tires looked perfect. But the trailer had not been driven in more than a year, and the tires sat stagnant. And though they looked good on the outside, what had happened was dry rot set on the inside.
Wow.
And the thing about dry rot is what causes those tires to explode is heat and pressure. And so when you've got a loaded down trailer and you're going 70 miles an hour, that heat and pressure causes the dry rotted tires to explode.
Yeah.
And I wonder how many of us over the last couple of years walking through this global pandemic, walking through this global crisis,
Right.
have had some blowouts.
Yeah.
And you just think, well, because here's what we know. Like I've had people say, man, COVID caused my marriage
Right.
problems.
And that's not true.
No.
Yeah.
COVID doesn't cause your marriage problems. COVID
Expose them.
exposes.
And that's the deal. It's the dry rot was already there.
Right.
It's already under the surface. All COVID did was it applied some heat and pressure to our lives.
And it
it's probably the most
exposed-
stressful event that we've probably walked through for a majority of people. And so then it starts to expose brokenness, pain, hurts that were already there
That's right.
that we just hadn't had to deal
Yeah,
with.
some of them relational, some of
Yeah.
them financial, some of them health.
Yeah.
You know, and how many of you had your kids staying home with you? At first, you know, we talked a little bit about it last weekend, our last episode, how that here we are. We thought it was going to be a vacation. We're hanging out with our kids and our
Right.
spouse. Well, the first week or two, it's all good. Second, third week, you're like, whose kid is this?
Right, why?
That ain't my kid. That's her child. And
I
then
was like,
fourth week,
this
you're
is
like,
why teachers do not get paid enough. Oh my gosh,
it
what are we doing?
exposed
Yes.
the deficiencies in our
Yes.
parenting. And here's
Wow.
how you keep dry rot from happening on a tire. It's maintenance. It's simple, regular maintenance. And so when you have a marriage, you got to maintain your marriage.
So good.
When you have relationship with your kids or your parents, whoever, you got to maintain that financially.
Right.
You got to maintain.
Yeah. And you have to grow too.
Grow, yep.
Yeah, maintenance, growth too. There's always something that you can do better or do to learn and grow as
Otherwise,
well.
you're going to have the blowouts.
Right.
And then once you have the blowouts, I think recognizing, okay, man, my marriage went through a tough season. How am I going to make sure that we don't settle in a place God intended
Right.
for us to pass through?
And that I love that. So going back to your story, one of the things that I thought is you were also just settling for good enough. And I
Right.
think that's what blowouts do. You're so traumatized by the marriage issues that you finally get through. You guys are doing okay.
You're like,
Everybody's talking. Nobody's throwing things at each other. And so it's just like
Not that anybody would do that.
I'm not pointing any fingers, not saying anything about anybody, but just saying it. Once everything is good,
Yeah.
once everything just feels just fine, we settle for good enough, and
Good
I think
enough.
that's where we can get stuck because
Absolutely.
hey, it's good. It's good enough.
It's good enough.
Yeah,
I'm-
we're
I'm-
fine.
well,
that
I'm
hotel
surviving.
would be good enough.
That's
Yeah.
right. It's good enough.
Yeah.
It's not where God wanted me to be or where
Right.
I wanted to be, but it's good enough. It's better than where I was.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. Even with your career, you could talk about every physical health.
Right.
You know, how many times have we settled? We're like, hey, well, my high blood pressure's come down a little bit.
Right.
So I'm pretty good, you know, but are you really healthy? Are you really taking care of your body? What
Right.
about your mind? Like, I know you read once a year, a book a year. What about, you know,
Right.
one,
I'm like
a book a week?
cheering, like, woo! I read my book. Took me a year, but I got it. That was a challenge for me this year too. I was like,
Yeah.
it's not. I don't want to just be somebody who reads a couple books a year. Like I want to
No.
constantly
Constantly
be
learn
taking
and
in
grow.
new information, and so that was a big one for me. It's not. I
Yeah.
was not okay with good enough there.
Well, better than everybody else is not the standard.
Wow.
I don't want to be better than everybody else. I want to be my best
So
self.
good.
I want
Yeah.
to be the best person that I could possibly be, that God's called me to be. And I'm not going to settle in a place that God intended for me to pass through. So I thought about how do we not settle? There's a couple of things.
Right.
So first thing is you got to make a quality decision to move forward.
Wow.
A quality decision to move forward. So, you know, just like you'd make a quality decision in any area of your life, I think people don't move forward because they make decisions, but they're not real quality decisions.
Right. So true.
It's a
so
hope.
True.
I hope to be better tomorrow. I wish to be better tomorrow.
Right. So it's really sitting down, planning, actually putting goals, you know, so for financial, I use something called Every Dollar. That's
Yep.
Dave Ramsey's
Yep.
app. If I want to get better at my finances, I should be budgeting monthly
That's
versus
right.
just saying, oh, you know,
I'm gonna get
wanna,
better.
I want to stop spending so much
Right.
or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You have to take actual steps to build a plan.
You're
that's
100%
gonna
right.
work.
Well, if someone said, hey, I am not living the life I want to live, I'd say, well, what area do you
Right.
want to focus on?
Right.
And so if they said, I want to focus on my career, I hate my job, my question is, what do you want to do?
Right.
Well, okay, I want to be a photographer. Well, what do? I work at a refinery, or I work at some kind of an office job. Okay. My question would be, what steps are you taking right now
Yes.
to become the best photographer
So good.
so that people want to pay you to
Right.
do what you love to do?
Right.
And so it's what is it that's in your heart, and where do you want to go? And then what steps are you taking? Do you have a path?
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just wishful thinking.
Yeah.
I had someone tell me the other day, I'm going to buy a beautiful house one day. And I said, great. Well, what's your plan? Well, they said, well, God's going to bless me. I said, well, he may bless you, but you won't be able to keep it.
Right.
Because you've got to know, okay, if I'm going to buy a house or a rental property, maybe your goal is you're listening right now, and you've got the job, you're working, your spouse is working, you're working on your investment portfolio, you want to buy some real estate. I invest in real estate.
Right.
My question would be, okay, what's the next step for you to buy a
Right.
rental property? What's that step look like? Well, okay, you got to start identifying the market. You got to start saving money for the down payment.
Got to connect with their
You
financial
got to learn
institution.
about the options of financing.
Right.
And so you're working a plan, or at least developing the plan to work, so that you can get to the life that you have always dreamed of, the life that God wants you to live.
Yeah, and I always think, when you're making a quality decision, I think that first step of even deciding this is the step that I want to take, what separates it from just being a wish or a hope is it's the motivation behind it. I think your why truly
So good.
defines, you've shared even with the investment that you want each of your children to have something to call their own. And so that's a good why.
That's right.
If there's no motivation behind it, you can say, I want to work out until you're blue in the face, but hey, I want to work out because I want to live till I'm
All right,
90
I got a
years
goal.
old. There's
What's
something
the why?
different.
The
Right.
motivation. The motivation is what keeps you doing it
Yes.
when everything else says to quit.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a good why, then you will fall away. It's like because we all come into speed bumps and roadblocks. I mean, that's just a normal part of life. So how is it that my life is going to move forward one step at a time? And
Right.
then the thing that gets me up in the morning, the thing that makes me stay up late, what is the why? I think part of the why too is legacy.
Yes. So
I think
good.
it's those that are coming up after us. I know for me, my kids, you mentioned real estate. Phyllis and I invest in real estate, and I've got a goal of X amount of properties. And part of what's funny, you were saying to give them a house, and that's because we give all of our money away.
Right, right.
We bless different ministries and
Yeah.
organizations. And so I just told my kids, if you get an inheritance from me, I'm going to have to just give you a house.
It'll be something.
Because I'm going to give all my money away
Yeah,
before I
love that.
die.
Yeah, and I think about legacy too. I recently shared just a photo. I have a great grandmother who, to my children, is their great great grandparent, and so I took a photo of her, and then of my great grandfather, a picture of him who he's passed away. But just to think about all of the work that they put in, they're
Yes.
pastors. They have their own church.
Wow.
They had businesses, owned rental properties. They were trailblazing
Right.
the way
Right.
when a lot of odds were stacked against them. But what it did for me was it helped me realize that their legacy, all of the work that they did, their choice to not be stuck in a place where most people said that they probably should never get out of, is what has propelled me.
Yep.
And that's what I want to do for my family.
You're perpetuating the legacy.
Yeah.
So they built a platform.
Yep.
And you want to make sure that you launch off of that platform
Right.
to build a
For my
platform.
future.
Yeah,
Yep.
for your kids too.
Yep.
And that's exactly right. And even just, I think part of the why is we're going to stand one day before God, and He's going to say, "What did you do with what I gave you?"
Wow.
And the question is going to be to us alone. It's not going to be to your spouse. It's not going to be to your parents. It's not going to be to your children. It's to us. And there's an obligation and a responsibility for us to say, God, I did everything that I could possibly do, and I wanted to bring you glory with my life.
So good.
And then we talked about moving forward, but I think you got to take it just one step forward.
Yeah. That's the whole goal of this, is just to
Just
give
one
you
step.
small steps.
Half the battle is just showing up. You know, James Clear's book, Atomic Habits, you hadn't read it, it's fantastic. But it's one of the books that I read a while back that helped me really start my workout journey, if you will. Probably when I hit 40, I'm 45 now, but when I turned 40, I just realized that if I don't take care of myself and my body, then we're not going to be around for much longer.
Wow.
And I love what he talked about is half the battle's just showing up. See, when I try to get into the fitness game and try to get all in shape, I would go in and try to grind for hours
Right.
every day.
Right.
And what I learned is for the first 30 days, it doesn't even matter how hard I work, but just that I show
Just
up to
show
work.
up. Yeah.
And there was something about that the first day it may only be 5 minutes, second day maybe 10. The 10th day may only be 5 minutes. There were a couple of days that I actually just showed up at the gym, walked in, ran for 5 to 7 minutes, and then left.
Yeah. But there's so much power in that.
So much
All it's
power.
just saying for me is to stop buying the workout equipment on Amazon, stop building the plan. Like I have 15 workout plans. Just go.
Just go.
Show up.
And just show up.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes we are so hard on ourselves when well, then what happens is week 3, week 4, week 5, now you have built a lifestyle.
Right.
It's not about how much you did. It's about the consistency of what you did.
Right.
And that's where I want to encourage those of you that you're listening right now and you're like, man, I am stuck in this area. Whatever area it is, find steps to start taking. Just read a book.
Wow.
Listen to this podcast.
Yeah.
Hey, go online at jimkyles.com. We actually have a free resource for you. It's an ebook.
Yeah.
And it's Help I'm Stuck. We're going to help you discover why you might be stuck and then to start taking some steps forward
Right.
to get unstuck. And that's what you want to do is just, what am I going to do every day to focus on this one area? And here's how I would decide on what area to focus on. Here's the question. What area of my life that if I focused on it would bring the greatest change?
That's great.
What one area of my life that if I focused on it would bring the greatest amount of change in my life? And then make that the place and say, look, I'm going to move one step forward every single day.
Yeah, and I think that's so important, not to get so fired up that you're trying to change everything all at once. That's an easy path to burning out.
Oh yeah.
You know, but to pick just one place, tackle that area, and then go to the next. I think it's the most impactful way to walk through this journey.
100%. Well, we want to encourage each of you that you're listening today that this would be a week that you take steps to move your life forward.
Yeah.
I'm going to encourage you to do a couple of things. Number one, subscribe to the podcast. Each week we will work hard to get you quality content that will help your life move forward. Second thing I want to encourage you with is teach.
Yeah,
Teach
I like that.
someone what it is that you've learned today. When you teach it, it helps you to learn it better. Yeah. And then next thing is I want you to engage. Engage what you learned and apply it to your life today. Don't wait till tomorrow.
Wow.
How can I engage one thing that I learned today and make sure that I activate the knowledge that I've learned? And then I want you to participate. Would you come in and join our online community, Facebook? Jolie, tell them about the Facebook.
Yeah, we have an Unstuck and Unstoppable Facebook group. We'd love for you to join. That's where we'll be sharing tidbits and opening it up for the group to discuss and talk through these different areas of their lives.
Yeah, because everybody needs to have community.
Yeah, absolutely.
We want to have people on our journey. We're going to help you with that. So you can go to Facebook. We're also on social media through Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube. Join us there. We'd love to join you in your journey. And then the last thing I'm going to ask you to do is just share this podcast with 2 to 3 people that you know might benefit from the content. That, hey, maybe they're stuck. You're going to help them say, hey, look, I listened to this podcast and I would love for you to listen to it with me. And I really believe it'll be a blessing to you. And then don't forget about the Help I'm Stuck ebook on the website. So go and download it. It's our gift to you. We want to help you on your journey. We're excited next week. We'll bring some more great quality content.
Looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
That's right. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.